Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the One Hub Racing YouTube channel. It has felt like quite the long Christmas break, I have to say, but we are back, and it is the turn of the Precision tier to take centre stage for round 3 here of Season 17 around the Hungary ring here in the beautiful city of Budapest. My name is Jake, and joining me tonight, and indeed for the rest of the season, is Craig. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Just want to say a big thank you to Jess for giving me this opportunity, and just wish Sam on a speed recovery. But no, I'm really looking forward to commentating with you for the rest of the season of Precision tier, and yeah, I can't wait to see what these guys can do.
Absolutely, it should be a really good watch. I'm just making sure that the engine noises are on. I can't actually hear the engine noises from my end, so I don't know.
They're running my end anyway.
Okay, so hopefully they're working on the stream. If they're not, I'll try and do something about it. Anyway, we've missed quite a bit of qualifying, unfortunately. And by the looks of it, it has been a very, very wet start to qualifying. But it looks now like it is drying up, so that should provide some excitement in the final 7.5 minutes. Just to give a little bit of introduction to the track, Budapest. It was opened in 1986 and has actually hosted a Hungarian Grand Prix ever since. It's often described as Monaco without the close barriers, and some memorable moments include Jenson Button's first win in 2006 and the incredible performance from Daniel Ricciardo in 2014. We have 14 turns in this 2.73 mile circuit, with 6 to the left and 8 to the right, and the lap record was set by Lewis Hamilton this very year. Last year, shall I say? I keep forgetting it's 2021. 2020 on a 1:16.6. We've got 35 laps in front of us. And obviously you've already raced here this evening already. Are you expecting plenty of drama?
Yeah, there was plenty of drama in my race. We had a safety car. I needed that safety car after I got involved in it at the start. But yeah, we should do. Well, we don't know what the race is going to be like. Is it going to be wet in the race? That would definitely spice up the race. People need to watch out for that inside curb after sector 1. It seemed to catch up a few people in my race tonight. So yeah, there should be a lot of drama. Qualifying is going to be very important, like you said. It's like Monaco without the barriers. It's very hard to overtake here, and it's very hard to follow someone as well. Dirty air is a big problem around here.
Absolutely, it's definitely not the easiest track to overtake on, but we can see areas in which it can be done. Certainly turns 1 and 2 with the double use of DRS. It's very possible, and there's maybe a couple of other areas. Turn 4, if you're very brave as well, could be a potential overtaking spot. A quick note on the stewards report from the last race, we do actually have a new rule whereby under the safety cars you now have to keep under +5 delta, as drivers have been there's been some drivers that have been going slower than that in order to avoid double stacking. Obviously if you're quite close to your teammate, you don't want to queue up in the pit lane and but you can no longer drive unnecessarily slowly under the safety car, so that's important to note. And also Catboy Key received 2 10-second time penalties in the last race, which dropped him from 9th to 12th. The first one was for crashing his car at the end of qualifying in order to get fresh tyres. That is something that no driver should be doing, and was also brought up in the stewards thing. And he also got another one for a 10-second penalty for a collision with Chris, who's currently sat on the front row of a grid. So a couple of stewards notes there. But yeah, other than that, pretty solid all round from the Precision tier. I was about to say last week, obviously we're looking like 3 weeks ago now, so it has been quite the break. Of course, 2 stops here at One Hub. You got to do 2 stops during the race, and of course with qualifying turning from wet to dry, it's likely that most drivers will end up starting on the softs. So as of yet, only PB Racing, which is Bryn, if you didn't know, is out on the soft tyres, and it doesn't look like he's enjoying them all too much. So the track's not quite ready for them yet, it would seem. So it could be a mad dash in these final few minutes.
Yeah, it's going to probably be whoever crosses the line last at the end of the qualifying session is going to have the best chance of getting pole position, because the track is going to be drying out, more rubber's going to be burned down. So yeah, we could have a surprise. I don't know exactly. I need to brush up on my homework on this here. I don't know who's leading it or who's top at the moment, but we could see a surprise at pole who has not had pole this year.
Yeah, I mean, currently coming into this, we've got Tom Robbo, who's leading the Drivers' Championship. He's got 38 points from the first 2 races. He's got a first and a second place to his name. We're then looking at Jules, who's in second on 27, with Scorpion, Jay Fletcher on 26. Chris is on 20, and Knowlesy in 6th on 18. And then only 3 drivers as of yet have actually, or 2 drivers rather, have not scored a point. So pretty well split across the grid. But I have to say, the current championship leader and standout driver in the field, Tom Robbo, will be desperately hoping it gets dry, because as of right now, he's only 16th, and that really would be a major blow if you're already mentioning that this track is not the easiest to overtake on.
No, especially if you don't have the straight line speed. If you go more for downforce in the middle sector and you don't have that straight line speed to even pass someone, even with DRS, I was struggling to overtake some people with DRS. I'd overtake because my win was quite high, so there's no guarantee you're just going to pass people down the start and finish straight. So you want to qualify as high as possible around here, and it looks like everybody is going to start coming out now. There's a flood of cars coming out. I've seen the 2 Renaults come out the pit lane, and they're going to have to nail this one lap. If they don't, they're going to be starting right near the bottom of the grid.
Well, we've got Hindle, who went back out on intermediates, and he's now coming into the pits. 2 minutes 25 remaining. His pit crew are going to need to get a move on, because he's really going to be up against a race against time here to get back in, change the softs and go out again. DRS has been enabled, which is usually the universal sign, but it's ready for slicks. So for Hindle here, he's got to really hope the Alfa Romeo team can get him back out there quickly. Otherwise, his race has already got off to a pretty bad start.
Yeah, we're just going to be seeing purple sectors fly everywhere for everyone now. Like you said, DRS is enabled. The track is going to be dry enough, but like I said, it's going to be whoever crosses that line last and can get a good solid time without invalidating has got a very good chance of getting pole position tonight.
Absolutely. Let's see who's closest to beginning their lap. Although, having said that, that might not be the best place to be. So it's all going to be about who can get over the finishing line last. Tom Robbo is still not out there, and I don't think anyone who's not on track now, they're not going to get lap times in, I wouldn't have thought. So, well, that's a disaster for the championship leader. He's really not had it good in this qualifying session, and I'm a little bit surprised of that. You'd think he would have been desperate to get out there and do a lap. He's now out on his out lap, but surely that's too late.
He's going to have to really push it now. I'm on board with Kazman, or the Renault. I think he's one of the first guys to set a lap, so it'd be interesting to see what kind of benchmark he sets. But no, he's going to have to really push on his out lap now. And, you know, if he gets caught in traffic on his flying lap, that could hinder him. That's why I never leave it to the last minute, because there is such a risk that if you're on a lap and people have done a lap or made a mistake, you could easily get blocked. So, you know, he's going to have to really get on with it and make sure he crosses the line before the clock runs out. And
I've just seen there as well, he actually had to slow down and let Kajman through, so that's the other problem as well. He's still out, he's having to get out of people's way who are on flying laps. So Kajman's still taking it pretty tentatively here, and it is very much, I think, going to be last person over the line is in the best position. So the 2 Renaults who are quite close together on the track, I don't think they're in the best position here. But we'll see what sort of benchmark they can lay down. I think it's going to take provisional pole, but for how long, we shall see. Kajman round the final corner now, and the benchmark is a 1:22.5, which is still some way off the sort of pace you'd expect, as Okeke joins him into second. Nick has invalidated his lap, so he won't be improving. Who else have we got out there? We've got Scorpion. I'm going to follow through the middle sector. I'm going to keep an eye out, though, because the times are going to keep coming thick and fast. Riley Vise goes into third. Still, it's a Renault 1-2. Surely that's not going to stay as it is. I mean, Kajman actually crossed the line before the checkered flag came out, so he potentially might be able to do another lap here. So I might have written him off a bit too soon on that one, as Bryn goes quickest. PB Racing, he changed his PSN name lately, if you're wondering. Catboy Key goes second, and Scorpion's just making his way through the final couple of corners. You can still see how tentatively they're taking it. Dry times you'd usually expect about 8 seconds quicker than this, so it really shows how much they're struggling. Scorpion isn't going to go quickest, he only goes 4th. And who else have we got? I want to see Knowlesy is a driver I want to keep an eye out on. He was in the pinnacle tier last season, made the step down after not really adjusting too well to life in the top tier, but he's had a good start to life in precision. Verhaenen's gone to provisional pole. Knowlesy pops it into third. And who else have we got out there? Kajman is one I'll look out for here. Tom Robbo didn't make it in time, and Kajman obviously, I'm guessing, didn't put enough fuel in for 2 laps. So he's actually come into the pits. So that he might look back at that as a bit of a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and Tom Robbo is starting right at the back of the grid. He was stuck in between the two Renaults. It didn't look like he was going that quick anyway, so he must have had a bad lap, but it looks like, I can't pronounce his name, but the Red Bull driver's got pole position with a 20.1, and that is, well, pole position in my tier was a 14.1, so they're easily, like you said, like 6 to probably 7 seconds off the pace, because I thought, you know, these guys probably could do a 113, so definitely off the pace, but the Red Bull drivers nailed the lap when he had to, and he's going to be starting on pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Massive credit to Verheyen there. Really pulled that lap time out of the bag, did the Finnish driver. And yeah, he's only got 5 points up to now in the season, but 12th in the standings, so that's exactly the start he would have wanted. So it's Verheyen on pole. We've got Jay Fletcher in second, Knowlesy in third. Farf did a great job for Haas in fourth. He's yet to score this season, but that gives him a great springboard in which to do so. Kian in 5th, PB Racing 6th, Schnitzel 7th, Casper on his debut is 8th, Rantaro, or Cloudy Balloons as you may know him better, is 9th, Scorpion 10th, Catboy Key is 11th, Kajman and Okeke 12th and 13th. We've got Riley Byers in 14th, Chris in 15th, Nick 16th, Hindle 17th, Rimpe 18th, Jonas in 19th, and Tom Robbo brings up the rear. The last 6 drivers actually never actually got laps in on soft tyres, so that really was their problem. I think some obviously didn't make the checkered flag, and obviously some in that rush to get the final lap in possibly invalidated. Easy to do when you've only got one shot at it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see some of the guys from the back work their way through the field. But like I said, anything can happen. Safety car can help. We don't even know what the weather's like for the race, so we do. It's going to be wet, actually.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting, sorry. But we don't know if it's going to rain for the whole race. I hope it's a mixed conditions race, because I love watching those kind of races. But some of the guys might not be as good in the rain than they are in the dry. But like I said, like some of the guys at the top haven't got many points, so this is a chance to really kickstart their season. They'll get some good solid points today.
Exactly, it's a real level of these conditions, and I think the break as well, if you've had a disappointing first couple of races, having those couple of weeks to regroup and perhaps almost take a step back and evaluate how your season's gone, I think it's really helped some drivers, and this mixed up grid is exactly what certainly me as a commentator would have hoped for coming into this one, to really mix things up. And now we're going to see Tom Robbo's had it, not to say all his own way, but he's been in the front at the first 2 races. Now we're going to see what he can do starting from the back. It's going to be a real test. These are the sort of races where you talk about champion drives. If he can come through and score a load of points tonight, it's a driver we might look back on come the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely when you got your confidence come from the break, like I won Bahrain in my tier, and I come back and qualified 9th, and I had to come from the back and finish 6th. So if he does do a good comeback, I know how he feels. But all you got to do is just make sure that he's clean. It doesn't get involved in any incidents, no wing damage from lap 1. And he's just got to pick them off one by one. Just be patient, really, and just see what happens. Could be a big incident at the front. Could take his opportunity there, but I'm interested to see how the Red Bull driver does from the front, see if he's any good in the wet, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this race.
Well, we certainly, Finnish drivers usually have a reputation for being very good in changeable conditions. We'll see if Hayden can live up to that. I'm interested to see how the Renaults get on, actually, because they did pretty good laps to say they were first across the line, and coming into this, Okeke was talking about a difficult start to the season that the Renault team had. He only scored 4 points up to now, but he did say that he was confident they'd get points here, and he added, especially in wet weather. So clearly, both him and Kajman have a bit of a feel for it in these conditions, and I'll be excited to see what they can do from 12th and 13th. They could be potential dark horses here, because with the way qualifying went, I'm not sure the grid order we've got is potentially the order from fastest to slowest.
This is interesting. The track is not wet enough for inters. I thought they might have all started inters. They're all mostly started on soft, so they're going to have to be extra careful when this race starts, because their tyres are going to be cold, especially the guys at the front. So this is going to be very interesting. Wet weather with dry tyres.
And that's a question I was going to ask you as well. Is it is it going to be even tougher for those starting on medium tyres just to try and get a bit of temperature into them?
Yeah, like I said, they're probably quite slow off the line, so the way it's looking likely is either going to get heavier, or I think more likely it will dry out at some point. But these guys will be very careful. His first 3 corners will be very tricky, and you know, if everybody all bunched up, like hopefully it's all taken easy. And but I could see maybe 1 or 2 people having it off at the start. It's very difficult, especially around here on dry tyres, on damp conditions.
Absolutely. And just before we get going, a quick thank you to our sponsors. We've got Next Level Racing, who will be providing rigs to the winner of the Going Gets Tough award. So thank you to them. And also Liam13, who is sponsoring the trophies once again this year. And if you do want to check out his streams, you can do so at twitch.tv/LiamRBS. So yeah, thank you to both of them as always. Their support is greatly appreciated. And good news as well is that Rantaro has just rejoined, so I think he may have lost connection a few minutes ago, but he's joined just in time for the start.
Yeah, the bad news for PB Racing is he's got disqualified straight away. He's going to be sat there the whole time while all these cars come round to the start line, and his tyres are going to be absolutely cold. So he's going to have to be even extra careful when he goes into turn 1.
Yeah, this is really going to be an adventure going down to turn 1, especially after the qualifying they've had as well. No one's going to really know what kind of conditions to expect there down at turn 1 at racing speed, so hopefully they all take it carefully. I'm sure all of them know that you can lose a race on that one, you certainly can't win it, so I'm sure they'll take it very, very carefully. And this is a big moment for Verheyen here, probably not where he maybe would have expected to be on pole position, but he's got a real chance to prove what he can do. So we're just waiting now for the lights to come on in front of us. Give it any second. And yeah, all the cars are lined up and ready, and you can still see rain falling a little bit, so they obviously think it's good enough for dries, but it's going to be very, very treacherous, especially on his opening laps as they find out where the grip is. And eventually, I hope the lights are going to come on, but it's...
I hope so. It says lap 2 on my screen as well, so I don't know if there's some kind of glitch going on or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, but anyway, I'm going to go on board with Verheyen until I see some lights pop up in front of me. This is not going to help with the nerves. I think for those drivers that are maybe in positions they didn't expect to be on the grid, having that extra waiting time only increases your nerves, and I think you just want to get on with it at this time, don't you?
Yeah, I completely agree. You want to get on with it. Well, there we go. That's the ring.
Oh, my game is blue screened.